It's the second most populous state in Nigeria, with over 12 million people and a territorial land area of 351,861 hectares. The state...
I beg, no stress us, we could get down to business.
Mainland 98.3 FM.
This is Noah.
Electricity, I'm on a different gear. Till infinity, steady on a different gear.
Tune in for the latest news, entertainment, and more.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as we welcome our Industry Merit Award winner, the incomparable Patience Ozoto.
With our talented voices, keeping you in the know.
Wow! You ready for this?
And the winner
is... Introducing. Listen to the sound. Feel the sound.
To give you the affordable and reliable power.
The stakes are higher than ever.
Government policy does not support youth in this country. So if you say you have any idea, one day...
And for quality blueprints needed to make informed decisions is constantly being reviewed.
You can sign
Operation Room on 98.3 Mainland FM provides leadership and governance in Nigeria and around the world. Join us every Mondays through Fridays from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. as the Situation Room is here.
Hello, my name is Godwin Enoch and I'm a broadcast journalist and a sport administrator. I want you to listen to Situation Room with Opeyemi Akinyode on Mainland 98.3 FM from 4 to 5 p.m. weekdays. God bless Nigeria.
Dear Nigerians, I am determined.
98.3 FM. Let's talk about politics. We get as we constantly deems that we have the privilege, widely. We've done with these Fridays from 4 to 5 based on popular demand. So we take the headline news, then we get Tğᴇ. The fact that we've had Boko Haram now that moved to banditry, cattle rustling, armed decision of power from 1999 in that period. Immediate past President Muhammadu Buhari of President Olusegun Obasanjo learned through it. You may want to say that be standing up with the support of holding on to something, and by a year there about 223.8 thousand sensors. And one of the problems that we've had to deal with as a people is our explosive population. Whole lot of conversation of the democracy about the fact that the political parties play a big role in the sustenance of the alternatives to Nigerians. It took us back to how they were all over the places, in a sitting presidency. For every society to thrive, there must be fairness, equity, and justice. And for the people that feel ask the questions from Barrister Abuja to the fact that there's been instances where rare cases where judges have had their integrity questioned, and I asked him a question. I said, is it proper for us to have such, especially when you look at the kind of respect and the sanctity that we expect from the judiciary? And he said no. So yesterday we decided to look at another key element in our democratic conversation, which is the pressure groups, the civil society organizations, the NGOs, the CLOs, and the executive director of the CSOs in Nigeria, Comrade Steve Aluku, joined me on the show. And then we looked at some of these things. He said something which, I felt particularly, how do I put it now? I felt a little disconnected, especially at that point where he talked about the fact that what we have in Nigeria is not necessary, it's not particularly a civil society, that some of them are actually evil society. And this is what he meant, that civil society are meant to be pressure groups. They are meant to ask the fundamental questions from the government. Why are these things happening and why are these things happening? But he said some of the civil societies that we have in Nigeria are very political. And so you have a situation whereby a coalition of civil societies will say they are endorsing the presidential candidate of a particular political party. And I'm wondering, how did we get to that point? But in all of the narrative that I painted to you today, the most important element in every the entire population of the politicians that we have, of the lawyers that we have, of the members of the civil society organizations, the NGOs that we have, they're not even up to 1% of the entire population. So we look at it this way: how that's what the people get that are supposed to serve a larger purpose of protecting the interests of the people is being hijacked by individuals. So when we talk about state police, you look at the governor, you have the DN, Nigerians are being under policed. But we have our public office holders and our VIPs and our VVIPs taking almost the 50% of the entire police force that we have. I've been to the airport a couple of times, and you see some of those big celebrities arriving, and then they come in a convoy of 6-7 cars, and you see soldiers, you see policemen. And I want to ask, if you have all of these already guarding and protecting one person, who is left to protect me? Who is left to protect you? So the question is this: it's been a tough economic situation we find ourselves, especially since the removal of the subsidy on the 29th of May. But we're not asking questions. And so we decided we've looked at the political parties, we looked at the judiciary, we looked at the civil society organizations. Today, we're looking at the role of the populace, the citizens, the individuals that are not holding any political office. How do we go about asking the right questions? And we're also going to we're going to start this conversation from the local government. Yesterday, Guardian did a very deep reportorial on, and big shout out of course to my guest today. He was actually the one that did that report. He talked about the fact that almost 10 trillion have been spent in the last 5 years by local government alone. That's 774 local governments that we have in Nigeria have shared almost 10 trillion in the last 5 years. And they would always say the local government is supposed to be the smallest unit, the closest to the people. Last week on Friday, I had the local government chairman of Ojuwe join me on the show, and he talked about some of the things he's done despite the limited resources that he's got. Mr. Adeyemi, we're going to get straight up into this conversation today, and the first question I'm going to ask you is this: who are we supposed to hold accountable the most? Some of us will never get to see our president till he leaves office, maybe 4 years or 8 years. Some of us will never get close to our governors, senators. They are very far from us. But some of us see our local government chairman every single day. Take us back to that. You were the one that did that report yesterday. Almost 10 trillion have been spent by local government in 5 years. Can we say that money has been well spent, justified, defined, explained, accepted? Or you think that the local government had been a big issue for the development of democracy in Nigeria?
Well, I think in your last statement now, I think said obvious. Local government has become a big issue for underdevelopment, not development. Whereas that's the closest level of government, tail of government to the people. When you even ask, who do we hold responsible at times? You can't go to Aso Rock and see the president. Neither you go and meet the governor. But local government chairman is somebody you all know, live within that community, at times popular in most cases in that community, that people can easily walk up to and ask questions. Then you then begin to wonder that, okay, in your local government, even our people now are abreast with the functions of the local government. Do people now know what's expected of their local government? Yes. In the last 5 years, we discovered that they've got close to 10 trillion naira. And this 10 trillion naira, Nigeria can begin to ask from 774 local government, can they point at anything reasonable that local governments have achieved in the last couple of years in their area? But most Nigerians have forgotten that we are talking of road infrastructure. We have A, B, and C. We have a road that's supposed to be done by the federal government, some roads by the state government, and some roads by the local government. Most roads that pass through your house, most roads that connect your streets, they are type C, they are local government road. How many of those roads have been charged to come and grade? The problem we have essentially with local government is that if how much 10 trillion we are talking about for the 10th, And plus the probable question. Though this how much I'm reserved for daring to ask question. And then expenditure. That's salaries. So from the right to any capital projects worth that check. That's we're able to discover was that 1999 constitution, where the federal government and begin to appropriate and disappropriate and at times 30 or 20% of what's supposed to go to their local governments, because state governors will tell you they are doing joint projects for them. So that's why we don't have money, and that's why if you see that kind of study we're trying to the report, very military, much money belong to local government, they are going straight
to the local
government. And that's why I think a lot of people in Lagos State here, we're just using purpose at the moment. You see local government clearing bushes, local government carrying, so you feel the presence of local government is happening. You will see local government because it won't be available because it has no money to spend by the state. Not only Lagos State, but in most of the 774 local governments own allocation directly, and local government also has its own. If the money is meant for 괶ᴏ, why can't we spend that part of the money to something else that people know sure they will never? Governors or whoever have been taking over this structure, doing this unchallenged, simply because on their rights. At Nigeria now, go and look at the schools being controlled by local government. Go and start talking about sector. That okay, I think you can see the sector of the community. They do not have usually they do not have drugs.
Now they have drugs,
but now they aren't having drugs, or they do not have enough nurses to take care of people. Now I think we now begin to see semblance of nurses around the place. Can anybody say that? Okay, we are in dry season now. We're supposed to be patching some of the local roads or grading where they were not charged to make it accessible. Have they seen that impact now in this dry season? We are talking of malaria. In the olden days, some of us grew up to see local governments distilling gutters. You see, they employ people, they will wash and sanitize all these gutters. We grew up to know them. Recently, I traveled to Europe. When I saw it, that they are still distilling gutters, I was surprised. So they still wash gutters nowadays. You see them fumigating. But I remember that we saw it happen before, and we continue to complain of malaria. Imagine if gutters, drainages in your neighborhood are being cleared and fumigated. Should we now be talking of malaria at the rate we are talking of it? But with the increment they have been receiving since May, June, have you seen such affecting or
having effect on the quality of life
of people? No. So we're a problem, and all of us have to think of how to solve this problem.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Muyiwa Adeyemi, the chief political editor of Guardian newspaper. You've opened the conversation up, and then it's clear that the local government plays a very big role in how much we grow our democracy.
Yes,
they will tell you. However way you look at it, the basic responsibilities, the local government chairman that joined me last week Friday was talking about the fact that he was giving scholarship, he's doing 100 million empowerment projects to give loans to people. He was talking about some of these things. We'll come talk about the local government issue much. I'm sure the conversation will still take us back to the talk of the local government. Mr. Muyiwa, we've looked at how the political parties, especially the role of the opposition, can help to make our democracy better. We've also looked at how the judiciary, which is really a very important part of our democracy, can also help us provide standard and quality justice system where people will not feel aggrieved, where people will not feel that justice is for the rich, is now being bought over, where the integrity of the judges will not be put into question. I remember the build up to the September 6 where the judgment for the Presidential Election Tribunal was supposed to be read. There were a lot of pressures on the judiciary. There were hashtag eye on the judiciary, there were protests, there were billboards sponsored across Nigeria. Well, we also look at the civil society organizations, the pressure groups. Mr. Muyiwa, let's talk about we the people ourselves. A lot of issues have been asked. A lot of time we've asked questions about what defines a patriotism. When you see something, you say something. Mr. Muyiwa Adeyemi, what does it mean?
Well, when I'm talking about patriotism, I think it's to be loyal to your country. I think to always, whatever you do, both in action and words, and is to promote, I think, good neighborliness, peace, unity of your country, even of your environment. But unfortunately, I think in Nigeria here, our people, I think maybe majority of our people are still very docile. I think in reacting to what is happening within their environment. So when you say you see something, you say something. How many people will say something? And let me tell you something. For us to enjoy democracy in Nigeria, Nigerian people must be ready to play their own role and their own part. Without playing their own part, they will continue to complain. And the few people that have been loading themselves over people will continue to have at least an easy way to the treasury, and because nobody will question them, so they will continue to do whatever they want to do with it. And that's the point. I think initially I think I argued that my fear had ever been that even when they remove subsidy, I think from the petroleum products, my fear was that I think Nigeria were going to suffer as we are suffering it now, but are we not going to suffer in vain? And if from all indications I think available to us, it seems we are still suffering in vain, simply because they remove the subsidy for government to have more money. And what does that mean? If government has more money, that should translate into increase in social services, welfare services they are providing for the people. They have more money to build hospitals, as they have told us. They have more money to build schools. They have more money to build roads. They have more money to spend on the electricity. I think that all of us will not be spending. I think money to buy petrol or diesel. The companies will come back. There will be jobs. In the last 6 months that have been receiving higher money out of Nigerian sweat, that we now begin to, has there been any semblance of what we are expecting in return? That's what I'm saying. So can anybody say that in the last 6 months, there is now hope that I think the hospital, I went to the hospital, I saw new equipment, or they are now recruiting more doctors? Well, does it take science, I think nuclear science, to recruit more doctors, when we all know that in most of the general hospitals, including teaching hospitals in Lagos State, they are not having enough doctors and medical personnel? Go there and see. So it's what does it take? At least to place advert and to recruit more doctors, more medical personnel. We have not seen that. At least as far as I'm concerned, have we seen that more roads now are being constructed? Have we seen the kind of social service that will justify the more money getting to the state government accounts, even to the federal? And what have we seen? Federal government is getting more money. It's about, I think it's over, what's getting to their pulse now is over 100% increase, to the extent that they are having money to save for any day, right? But the point we are making is that what has that translated to in the lives of common man? And what I think my fear, as I've said, is that we are Nigerians are suffering this, and because we are suffering, but we have not done what we're supposed to do, and because we have not done what we're supposed to do, the excess money, the government is getting richer. The excess money is finding its way to the private pockets of some individuals. I will not be surprised if EFCC will do its job, SCPC will do their job very well, that the Swiss account of some public officers might have been bloated by now, because more money are coming to them, and nobody is asking questions and they're spending money. So if there's anything we have seen, the way they're spending this money, that they can sponsor as many as 400 or 50 or 1,000 to Dubai, where you don't need more than 10 people to go. Other officers are supposed to monitor the thing. And those state governor at least came out and said, I think all these programs, I monitored it online. So Nigerians monitor this thing online. All these technocrats, all these girls that they took to Dubai, I think, for this program, can't even have a function to do more than, I think, what is obvious. And they're supposed to go there. Can't they monitor all these things online and they without concerns your ministry? You're not speaking here. You're not contributing. You are listening to be. You're not a speaker. So once you're not a speaker, can't you stay in your office, monitor it, you understand, and take your notes for whatever you wanted to do? But we can now see the kind of a jamboree because we have more money. Is that more money meant for such? Simply because Nigeria are not doing what Nigeria is supposed to do. Nigeria is supposed to be more active. Nigeria is supposed to take ownership of governance. Democracy is government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Meaning that Nigerians must be involved at every process. Okay, let me tell you something. You must be aware of CDA in almost everywhere, especially in Lagos State now. Do you know that by law they've stopped recognizing landlords association?
It's now CDA.
Yes, it's now CDAs. And let me tell you something again. Do you know when election comes? They will invite CDAs to local government. Because all CDA must be registered with local government, right? And then when election is coming, right, they will invite the CDAs, all of them, to local government. Meaning that they have a representation from all the nooks and crannies of the state under the CDA to assemble local government, where they pass instruction from the state to them what they want them to do, what they should do, and at the same time maybe they will go with a bag of rice or whatever. Do you understand? And when election comes now, the ballot paper will get to every, no matter how far the village is, ballot boxes will get there, but no development. So what I'm saying that the CDAs is a link between the people, the government and local government and the people, right? And they send message to them. But at the same time, all the CDA landlords that attended the meeting, some of them had no road to their houses. You understand? You know, some of them that attended this meeting, you understand, they had no water, and they will never get pipe-borne water. You understand? In their lifetime, if you're not careful, they have no electricity. For instance, now in the country in Yᴏᴜ, get the last 2 axis to Dimu, whatever, in that axis now, in the last 7 days, there have been total blackout. But the point I'm making is that when government wanted them, they will send for them just for their selfish end. But they instead of these people now to now galvanize the same organization, the same meeting, to be able to pass their agony, what they are suffering,
to pass it across
to the governor. Those people just go there with their agbada and put on their cap, so because they know that after the meeting they have something to take home, which is quite unfortunate. This is kind of what we're talking about. Nigerians should organize themselves to let government know their grievances and their agony. And the issue of criticism has gone beyond Twitter. As I was telling you initially, go to White House almost every day in Capitol, you see one group or the other protesting every day. Go to 10 Downing Street in London, you see people almost on a daily basis protesting. What are they protesting? I think conditions of living that are not acceptable to the people. But some people may not have light power supply for 3 years, like in Okitukupa axis, in Bokoda, wherever in Ondo State, for almost 5 years. No power supply. And I think the governor there is still very comfortable that there's a segment of a whole senatorial district at the cutoff from national grid, and nobody is complaining. All is good, all is going well. So until next, some peaceful protest, I want to say, peaceful protest. There's nothing to CSO man that came with what. And the constitution of Nigeria is there. The function of the government is about the welfare and security
of the people.
But when your welfare is being threatened, and whereas you know they are getting more money to take care of your welfare, they are not doing how many groups. So I think it's only when the groups begin to speak, I think from the student level to trade level to religious organization leaders, level, to the market unions, to the CDAs, to landlords, that let everybody begin to let them know. See, Femi was chairman of the governors forum, immediate past chairman of the governors forum, and the immediate past governor of Ekiti State. He was telling Ganduje in Abuja that please try and speak truth to the president. That because that as work he is, the people that will be surrendered with, they will not tell him the truth. They will tell what Nigerians and enjoy. But he was telling Ganduje to tell the president the truth, that Nigerians
not what he wants to hear.
No, and not what he wants to hear. And until Nigeria begins to speak loud enough for the president to hear, my brother, if you know, Tağᴇ has said it for a long time. Tağᴇ before he died, when he go to Asorok, and maybe he was having meeting there, he said that there's nobody that will live in this Asorok that will not be disconnected with the people. Because you think you are living in the world of you. And the class of people that will be coming to you, because of the contracts they want to get, and because of the want the body will sell to smile, they will tell you things are getting better. They will begin to tell you that Nigeria had it good. That's what they will be telling him. But Nigerians are suffering, and Nigerians must be to speak out. Nigerians must be to speak up that they are suffering, unless they will continue to die in silence.
Now, you said Nigerians would need to speak out, which I totally agree with. But when you look at the institutions that Nigerians are supposed to use to speak out, the pressure groups, all of them have gone purely political. You have coalition of pressure groups endorsing candidates across political parties. You see the labor unions, you see Akomoran, that's a motorcycle operator, you see NURTW under the total control of the government. I mean, to the point that even during the election, the NURTW were employed to use to distribute relief materials. So if you look at some of these pressure groups that are supposed to constantly help Nigerians to ask questions, the membership of these pressure groups are Nigerians, the NGOs are Nigerians, the civil society organizations, the civil liberty organizations, they're all Nigerians. If some of these measures or these tools that Nigerians are supposed to use to ask questions have been hijacked by the political elite, now I have an issue when we talk about the political elite. These people don't live in isolation. These people have relatives, they have friends, they have religious leaders, they have churches that they attend, they are members of a certain CDAs. We see all of these people. Is poverty playing any role in this conspiracy of silence? On the short day, we're focusing on the conspiracy of silence, the people and their democracy, because the people are a pure reflection of the society that they are. Do you think the issue of poverty, earlier today before we started the show, Eric and I were talking about the fact that it looks like we have an institutionalized poverty around us, that everybody just wants to be alive. Is this a deliberate attempt to silence the people, or you think the people have not just had it enough?
As far as I'm concerned, if we say, I think the people have not had enough, we are right. Right? And that's my thinking, because we don't need Akomoran or NURTW to speak loud. We don't need all some of these institutions that have been compromised to speak up. We don't need them. When the issue got to the head, we saw what happened. What we call Arab Spring. There was no institution that backed it up, and we saw how many government that came down with it. Nigerians were still, let's say, enduring, because as many will say, they have a strong shock absorber, and not because of the faith here that just believe tomorrow will be better.
Things will get better.
Things will get better, and people are dying in droves. Things will get better. Nigerians have not had enough, and I want to believe so, because if you had it enough that they were buying this, this is Christmas period. Even we were joking somewhere yesterday that it seems they've postponed Christmas because we could not see bags of rice flying around
everywhere.
You could not see, I think, a trailer or lorry of rice. You are not seeing even the dispatch riders are supposed to be taking 1 hamper. I have not seen a bag of hamper this year. I have not seen one. I have not set my eyes on one. When they were talking about a bag of rice, almost 65,000. Well, there's one local rice they advertise it. Even in one of these online ones, it's 75,000 per bag. Locally made rice, 75,000 per bag, and they said this seems to be one of the best locally produced bag of rice. If a locally produced bag of rice going for 75,000 naira, I think how many Nigerians will be able to buy that for Christmas? Maybe by the time we will be able to celebrate a very dry Christmas, as they've made them to, they pushed them to. Maybe some people will begin to think twice. And again, this I will not want to mention all these kind of palliatives. It makes one angry, saying that some people will go to slashing, I think, the buses by 50%,
and the rail free for how many days, for how many people? I'm sure train does not pass Ijebu. How many trains pass through the east? How many trains goes to Ekiti?
How many trains goes to Ekiti? Do you understand? You get a point now. So if you just, I think that you want to engage in tokenism just to silence people, it's quite unfortunate. But the truth is that the government seems not to really understand how serious the hardship is and how they've driven Nigeria into abject poverty, and people have been so poor to the extent that to talk at times become difficult. I agree with you on that. That's why you can see all the structures that are supposed to stand for democracy. So they were campaigning for a bag of rice, and that's why one of the Hitler's theory, I think, coming to play. There was, if you watch one of these video that was going around before, when you take a fowl, in local it's like a chicken now, strip it off the feathers. So, and while they were doing that, they was crying, wailing, doing all this, blood coming up and kind of thing. So after stripping the feather, stripping it naked, right, dripping blood in agony and pain, so now begin to drop. I think grains follow you because if you render them useless, it's hungry, it's angry, it's hungry, but it cannot fight you, right? It's not, it's stripped naked, so it cannot fight you. So it must, and you want to survive. So just begin to drop that grain. I think it will follow you. So when you see follow you now, still praising you, not simply because is happy, but they had no choice. Most Nigerians have been taken to that level. That is just let's survive for today and wait for what God will do tomorrow. So for some people cannot even go fight for their rights again. The bones are weak. No more voice to fight because they're hungry. They are not, and they're hungry. And because of that hunger, they are now weak. But those that can still stand on their legs, I think, should rise up to defend their people. Whether we like it or not, if you work anywhere, all of us are poor. Before you pick your salary, you know how many hangers on. You know how many cousins, how many brothers. I'm close to one of these people in National Assembly, I think a senator. He was telling me, my brother, to go to my constituency. They are difficult to, because if I go there with 20 million just for weekend,
it's not enough.
It's not enough. And how much am I getting?
Mr. Muyiwa Adeyemi, a couple of years back, I was privileged to be on a journey with an House of Reps member, a legislator, and it was showing me a WhatsApp group, WhatsApp messages. And he said, Opeyemi, this person is asking for this, this person is asking for this, this person is asking for this, this person is asking for this. If I don't attend to this person, it will be a problem. If I attend to this person and I don't attend to this other person, it will be a problem. How do we go about it? Now, a lot of people had also said, well, you made it look like politics is so lucrative. Before you got into it, you had only one rickety card that they help you push it. I know of an immediate past governor in this country that is a serving senator now. When I was 7, a friend of mine served in his law chamber, and each time it rains, they would have to put buckets inside pots inside the chamber, so that because the chamber literally leaks every corner. And the moment he became governor, in the chamber, the roof was removed, remodeled, turned to a state-of-the-art library, private library. It wasn't open to the public. Silence the people. Whatever impression, whatever opinion people have. By the way, we're streaming this program live, so you can go on our Facebook page, facebook.com/mainland98.3 FM to watch us live, see what we do in the studio, or go our YouTube page, mainland 98.3 on YouTube, mainland 98.3 FM on Facebook, mainland 98.3 on YouTube, so that you can watch us live. I have the chief political editor of Guardian newspaper, Mr. Muyiwa Adeyemi, joining me live in the studio, and we're looking at the conspiracy of silence, the people and their democracy. Mr. Muyiwa, if you all agree that poverty has been weaponized, we saw what happened at the end SARS. I mean, even if I've not seen a couple of protests in this country, I've read about some of those protests. I remember when the current senator from Edo State, the former governor of Edo State, Adams Oshiomhole, was the chairman of the Nigerian Labour Congress in the very early 2000s. There was a nationwide protest that was privileged to be a part of. When the subsidy was removed also, at the under Goodluck Jonathan, the Occupy Naija protest, I was privileged to cover such protests as well. But it looks like this strength is fading off. Where do we turn to? If the institutions that are supposed to back Nigerians to come out and speak is being silenced, is being impoverished, is being politicized, where do we turn to, Mr. Muyiwa Adeyemi?
Well, I think those issues we're talking about, they were manned by certain individuals that allowed themselves to be compromised. No problem with that one. By the time Nigerians begin to complain, and the Nigerians know they are right, that these guys and these have been compromised, and we wanted new set of people because we can no longer take what is happening, certainly those people will not continue to be in that office. No matter what, we are not this is not military. So it's not that they got there through a band of guns, right? They got support of some people. But by the time those people knew that they were using them, at least for their selfish interest, that once you get this man is supposed to do a critique, a normal analysis of government policies, and come out with something that's beneficial to the people. The person has already drifted is not the one that is defending government policies, and he has people behind him, he has people watching him, but at a particular point in time they will tell him, you cannot continue. All the institution collapsed. So all the institutions there were, I think, have been taken over, but one day one event happened that changed the story, and that's why our leaders must be aware of that no matter how smart they are, once you are beginning to toy with the emotions of people, you are making people to be hungry. And that's what leaders are saying, that any country that could not feed its people, those that does not want to be called leaders, is like a parent that could not provide for his family. That's the same thing to a country that could not provide food for his citizen and is calling himself at any level we are talking about now, not only at Aso Rock. So we must ensure that we Nigerians keep on demanding for what we think is right for us. If not, they will continue to do whatever they wish at the expense of our welfare. Nigerians are suffering, and some of the people are talking on institutions They have been compromised. As report a matter of robbery or somebody dupe you to police, sorry to say, you won't go, you leave the place empty without at least even dropping something. We all know that one. Police is there, they wrote there. Police
bail is free.
Bail is free. How many people have gone to police and left the place free? There was a time. I think I was arrested by some police station. I wouldn't want to mention the area. Do you understand? They asked for my documents. I gave them my documents. After giving the documents, the man now said that he wanted original of my vehicle particulars. So why do I have to carry original of my?
Why do I have to carry it around?
Original around. If they steal, somebody happened to my car and they left with it, what happened? Even commissioner of police have announced severally that even when they want to do that, they will announce to the people that at this time they're going to be general checking. Go on with it, but I have my photocopy here. Everything. I said no, so you have to take me to police station. No problem. So and I called, and I not too far from my head. I called one of my children who also bring out the certificate, the the documents, and bring it. And when they brought it, so after about 1 hour wasting my time, they was turning the whole thing to be friendly environment. You know, it's not that we want to fight you. So even still wanted me to drop something. But I told them no, that cannot happen. If you are wasting my time for almost 1.5 hours and you are still playing this with me, you know, because I could do that simply because I knew there's no way they would have done anything to me in the first instance. But the point we're making is that the institutions are weak to defend, I think, the democracy as it is now. I don't want to go into that institution too much, but I'm only talking of the roles of individuals, roles of Nigerians, because our role here is that they used to say that I think eternal vigilance is a price for freedom. If you want to enjoy your freedom, you cannot sleep the 2 eyes closed. You have a role to play. We individuals, we have roles to play in this government. If it were a government where you had freedom of speech, they go to, you can protest. If in your area now, you raise for the past 7 days, you don't add power supply for 2 hours, so between 8 or 9 and 10 a.m. and they put that in social media. You know, on Facebook. Somebody somewhere will ask, what's the matter? And they've not told us this is the reason why you have not been having power supply for the past 7 days. So it's not about violence. Do you understand what I'm saying? Are you telling me that about 40 communities, at least 40 communities being affected? So if one day or in each other day, they are just carrying placards, do you understand? The thing will get to the group MD or the minister, whoever, and they will ask questions, and we begin to see that they will start answering. They will start asking. They will explain to you why
there's been outage,
and how soon
they will restore it.
And they work faster on it. But who's asking question? Do you understand? We had many things happening in our community. Who is asking question? Nowadays you see all these pocket all these guys picking pockets, all these hackers, at least they because they wanted also to have their Christmas, whatever, they are on the poor now, I think, doing all sort of illegality. Who is asking question? Right? So because they're not complaining. It's like, you know, my brother, if you have about, let's say you have about 5 children, I mean, for neighbors to know what
understand, but this particular one
don't understand. So when we are and the government, they can monitor
quickly last week, but today apologies for the calls that are coming in. I can't pick call yet until after 5. Well, on the turn of 5 o'clock we'll come back. I will try to close up the conversation. We'll also pick calls and also read your messages, but before then we need to take the headline news by 5 o'clock. Mobile Sandra is already with us in the studio, and I would also pay some bills. You're live on Mila 98.3 FM. This program is called The Situation Room, and I have the chief political editor of Guardian newspaper, Mr. Muyiwa Adeyemi, helping us to understand the conspiracy of silence, the people and their democracy. Why are Nigerians quiet in the face of all of this economic chaos? We'll come back on the turn of 5 o'clock. We'll allow you to engage us, and I will call it a day on the show. Don't go nowhere. You're live on Mila 98.3 FM. The program returns in a few minutes.
What you have for breakfast? We are the sound of Lagos, and this is Mainland 98.3 FM. Headline news on 98.3 Mainland FM.
Good evening, headline news on 98.3 Mainland FM. My name is Omubola Sandra. Federal government lists companies and routes for 50% interstate travel discount. First Lady Remi Tinubu launches 950 million naira support scheme for elderly people. Niger declares 7-day holiday for workers. Port Harcourt refinery resumes operation. On the foreign scene, Ukraine calls upon expatriate men for military service amid escalating conflict. Israel uncovers major Hamas command center in Gaza City as truce talks gain momentum. In sports, Super Eagles star Moses Simon in talk with Nantes over contract extension. That's the headline news on Mainland 98.3 FM. Details at 5:30.
Classic hits. Way back.
Have a way of taking us on a journey, and when you add plenty of vegetables like efo, ugu, and season with the rich taste of non-seasoning cubes, even better. So go ahead and elevate your meals with more vegetables and the rich taste of no cubes. Today, eat for good. The Financial Services Regulation Coordinating Committee (FSRCC), in collaboration with the National Broadcasting Commission (NBC), wishes to draw the attention of the public to the worrisome increase in the activities of illegal financial operators (IFOs), which threaten public trust and the stability of the Nigerian financial system. The FSRCC and NBC hereby advises the general public to refrain from dealing with unlicensed financial operators who deceive individuals with unrealistically high investment returns. Make sure to verify the licensing status of such companies and schemes on this website. To report any suspicions of illicit financial activities, call 0700 225 5226, 0800 225 5226, or +234 817 665 6273. Let's work together to uphold the integrity of Nigeria's financial system. Announcer, FSRCC.
John, what's up? Check your phone. I just send you Momo referral. My mama don't run that one for me since now. Me say for
promo to win. That's our 671 hash to sharpen open your Momo account and select option 6 to refer your family and friends them. After that, make sure see them open Momo account and use them recharge time or data at least 100 naira. Chicken. Now the more people when you refer, the more you win. This promo go run from November 2010 to 31st December 2023. Terms and conditions dey show.
To cook correct food dey always give me joy. That na why anytime wey I dey cook like this, I dey always season am with no cubes. Come add correct vegetables inside: ugu, tatashe, shombo, onions. No one wey I no dey put. Na im make my pikin dem dey always enjoy my cooking.
Daddy, I never available. I want more.
You see? Sama all your food with correct vegetables. Come season am with no cubes for that ogbonge delicious taste. Today, chop better.
Admission into Eko City Polytechnic is now open. Available courses are Computer Science, Theatre and Media Arts, Mass Communication, Science Laboratory 100 and above in the last JAMB exam. Facilities at Eko City Polytechnic includes well-equipped studio and laboratories, modern classrooms, innovative workshop, recreation space, and fully furnished for the 2022-2023 academic session at the campus Eko City Polytechnic, Plot 100, Alhaji Onilewura Street, Ikotun Egbe, Lagos State. Eko City Polytechnic is approved by JAMB, NBTE, and the Federal Ministry of Education. For more information, please call Moses 091-6254-0610, Wale 091-6292-7079, Praise 091-6269-9996, Adilanwa 081-2658-0784, or visit our website www.ecocity.edu.ng. Eko City Polytechnic, building industry-ready professionals.
John, what's up? Check your phone. I just send you Momo referral. My mama don't run that one for me since now. Me say for the find who I go refer, make a quick hammer my million.
Hey! You too should be one of the 6 millionaires for the Momo refer and win promo. To win, dial *671# to sharpen up your Momo account and select option 6 to refer your family and friends them. After that, make sure see them open Momo account and use am target time or data at least 100 naira. Chicken. Now the more people when you refer, the more you go win. If you don't see out of 6 million naira every week, you fit to chop out of 160 million naira. Momo refer and win promo. The more you refer, the more you win. This promo go run from November 2010 to 31st December 2023. Terms and conditions dey show.
Who takes a plate of jollof rice to the next level of goodness? Is it when it is cooked with no seasoning cubes for that sumptuous taste? Or when you serve it with correct Nigerian salad, cabbage, carrot, lettuce, and a bit of kidney beans? It's both. Season your jollof with the rich taste of no cubes and serve with plenty of vegetables. So, go ahead and elevate your meals. Today, eat for good.
Mainland 98.3 FM. Don't touch the dial. 98.3 FM. Don't touch the dial.
Thank you and welcome back. Sometimes I just wish we could make available to the public the audio of the conversations that we have when we are paying these bills. They will understand that beyond the microphone, a lot of things go down, and it means that we're also humans. We also feel the same thing that people are feeling. A couple of months back, a cousin of mine outside of the country was asking me that how do we sleep at night, and I said, what does she mean? She said, every single day you wake up, you have to read the news, you have to talk to Nigerians, try to paint things that are not so good as though they are good and give them some element of hope. And I said, over time, I've developed a mechanism for myself that when I want to sleep at night, I know how to clear my brain. So as I'm waking up the following day, I'm already ready for the stress of that day. And so that's what keeps us going. Well, are you live on Milan 98.3 FM? This is the Situation Room. We start up at 4 o'clock. And this program always runs from 4 to 5:30. I was streaming live on all our social media platforms, Facebook and YouTube. facebook.com/mainland 98.3 FM. Like it, follow us, so that you can get notification for every of our programs that we're streaming, and also on YouTube, mainland 983, and you can also follow us on Twitter at mainland 983. Let's have a conversation off the radio. We take it to the social media. Well, I've been speaking with the chief political editor of Guardian newspaper, Mr. Muyiwa Adeyemi, and just like the series that we started off on Monday, we look at some of those indices, some of those checks, some of those necks, that helps us to understand why our democracy had remained stagnated. And I would ask again, how come we have individuals that are more powerful than the institutions of government? We've looked at the political parties on Monday, we looked at the judiciary on Tuesday, we looked at the CSOs yesterday, and today we decided to look at the people that forms the core of democracy itself. You and I, how responsible are we to this country? A lot of us will see things on the ground, we pick it and then we claim it. A lot of us see people. Yesterday night when I was going home, I was forced to send a message to the PPR of Lagos, and I say, hey, along the long bridge from Berger to Aroko axis, please, you have to, align with the Ogun State Police Command to make sure that securities are provided on that axis. I've been unfortunately caught twice in traffic robbery, and then you see these people forcefully at gunpoint stripping people of everything that belongs to them. Small boys, because they have the power of the guns that they hold, and then they just rob people. They jump into the other side of the bridge and then they run into those thick bushes. So it's a period of the year where people have labored so hard, people have worked so hard all through the year. They deserve to be protected. When people are traveling, they deserve to get to their destination safely. That's exactly what I decided to chip in today. Now let's talk. 0913-600-0410. Mr. Muyiwa taking us through the memory lane, how we got to where we are, and what we need to do as Nigerians. We need to keep talking. We need to keep speaking truth to power. Like one of my friends would always say, I'm sure he's going to call from Ijai today. You know somebody that is living way above his means, but because he's a family member, it's going to be difficult for you to say, Oga, you're a level so in the civil service, your salary is supposed to be between 300 and 380,000 every month, but you're driving a car of 47 million. You're living in a house that is worth over 100 million. Where did you get this money from? You need to ask questions. Well, 0913-600-0410. Let's talk. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Okay, try and call us back. 0913-600-0410. You can also drop your messages on our social media platform. Adeyemi first texting, and it says Nigerians must learn to be active. Thank you. That says with the situation Nigeria is right now, it's glaring that the people are not in power. How would there be peace without justice? When you enter power cunningly, no debates, that means you have a destructive mindset. It is just like someone that appointed a king that used money and influence to enter the throne, not considering the lineage of the son of the past king. In such a village, there will not be peace. That is a lengthy one, but I appreciate you. Our Lawa says, you guys are always looking for the attention from the citizens. Who is suffering? Keep saying what is not right, just looking for attention. This is why you guys said we should be buying fuel at 87 naira per liter. I want to believe you are not in Nigeria, but if you are, I want to believe you have your own Eldorado with you. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, my good friend Opeyemi.
Good to have you join us on the show.
It is that your friend that you say you must call until my name is Vega.
You're welcome.
Until the DPO asked his sergeant, where did he get money to buy 3 million naira car? They parked side by side. Until the medical director of the general hospital asked the patient, how did he achieve this much before Nigeria will be resolved? I left my case. My best guess, I told you yesterday, the best guess I've had so far was the man you had on TV. I so much that barrister. He told me, he said eyes on the judiciary. Why was not eyes on the civil servant? Why was not eyes on the journalist? Majority of the radio stations we have now, they're being hit by one concern or the other. Majority of them, over 70% of them. So let's continue like this. When you have no say, my dear, thank you.
Thank you very much for always reaching out. 0913-600-0410. In case you're texting, we can't pick, or your calls are not connecting, you can drop messages on our social media platforms. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good to have you today.
Yeah, good evening, my brother. God bless you.
And God bless you too. Your name and where you calling from?
Thank you very much. My name is Malam Bello Usman. I am coming from Iṣẹ́rí.
Malam Bello Usman from Iṣẹ́rí. You're welcome to the show.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me start from the issue of insecurity in this country. Number one, you see, sometimes I reason between myself, I discover that the problem of this country, we are the problem of ourselves. Why? Because we claim so many things, some things that we don't even know much about. We claim that we even know beyond that. The issue of human rights does not allow the people that are charged for this responsibility to carry out the operation against the criminality to even go against them. I see a situation in this country where some people that are supposed to be in prison are not the people that are in prison. Yes, some that are supposed to be in prison, we know them, but they are not there. They are walking free in the streets of Nigeria without any challenge. That's number one, because if these people that are tasked with this responsibility touch those ones that are violent people, that are criminals, people will come out for them and protest that they are innocent, they are this, they are that. But those that are pure innocent, they are in prison today. That's number one. Then, number two, we have some people in this country that call themselves activists. Some people call themselves human rights. Okay, if you are human rights, and never, never also are there. If never human rights, some activists come out and do what is expected of them in this country. This country will not be like this, because these people that are supposed to stand for you and I are compromised. So that's why even if never disagree with federal or state government today that yes, this is not normal, we will strike or fight government to sanction and make sure that this come back to normal. At the end of the day, you will discover that never we say actually we should cut this strike off, we should not do this. I did so many things of which I discovered that we are the problem of this. Then number two. Yes, number three, if a soldier or immigration or custom or police, because I witnessed this at a really great today, that's why I am trying to exercise this. A man was arrested with issue on top of power bike. He was trying to grab him, and some policemen are trying to mobilize him because he was in gun, but he was captured. People that were in the vehicle, I was in the vehicle too, we didn't even know what was happening. The police are going to I came down, about 4 of us came down to even assist the guy. At the end of the day, we discovered that the people was found on him.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Tomorrow is Friday, so it's always going to be open mic, except anything happens the moment I step out of this show. And like we did last week, where we had the chairman of Odyolowo join us on the show. Well, we're talking about the conspiracy of silence, the people and their democracy. And Mr. Muyiwa Adeyemi is here, the chief political editor of Guardian newspaper. And like I said, don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms on Mainland 98.3 FM, on Instagram and YouTube, and facebook.com/mainland 98.3 FM, and on Twitter mainland FM. You certainly catch up with us, especially some of the programs that you get to miss, and you can go back and watch the streams again. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good to have you join us today. Your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Salah and I'm calling from Alambado.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, clearly.
That's very good. You see, this woman that is called Nigeria, because Nigeria is a woman, she was married to 2 different husbands. One, the husband number one is the man that has a dream, has a future, has a ticket, and the second one is a squanderer, and the third one is a beggar. Now, what do I mean? You see, from beginning, this country has a leader that has a vision to this country. Suddenly, from nowhere, their dream cut short. Military came in. After they squander everything, they push out to green, and later they want to change themselves into a civilian role. And so Unfortunately, it was not possible. They removed their khaki and wear agbada. Now, they squander everything. We are now pushed to the level of poverty. The masses are poor. We have no future. We have nothing that we will look into. You can imagine a 50-year-old man that earns 20,000 naira or 30,000 naira. Right? Fine. So how that fellow have nothing? And he has a children. So definitely they put them in the area, in the corner of despondency, so that we have no mouth to say. Well, it's only way that we take us to. I run out of credit. Maybe I'll call you back.
Thank you. I appreciate if you can call us back tomorrow. 0913-600-0410. God's plan our lives. By 4 o'clock tomorrow, we shall be back. Hello, good evening. Okay, I got that caller late. And hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Okay, good to have you today. Your name, where are you calling from?
Hello, can you hear me?
Very well. Your name and where are you calling from?
Okay, my name is Abubakar, calling from Papa.
Okay, Abubakar from Papa, you're welcome.
You are talking about the office of the citizen?
Yes.
And the role of, well, that's the most powerful office. But we as the people, first and foremost, we are not united. Secondly, we tend to be biased because if you arrested someone for corruption or something, before you know, people from his community or other people or tribe or religion, they start saying with something, what. So this is that we are not united in fighting evil. So once it favors us, it's okay. We are good to go. How can we get it right? First and foremost, until when we allow those people that occupy public offices, that they are going there for sacrifice and not to enrich themselves. How do we get there? Those that are supposed to make the law will not make it. So it's a problem. Because as long as the way we run our politics this way, it can never be favored. The normal citizens might not enjoy the dividend of democracy. It will always favor those that occupy public offices. So it's the problem. And fighting corruption, fighting evil, the society we are not going to unite. We're going to see it as bias. So in such situations, it's very, very difficult to actually to get a united voice. And if you don't have a united voice, sorry, I don't know how we might get out of this.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm always looking forward to Friday. Mr. Adeyemi, okay, we've got calls to pick. We've got real calls to pick. I was going to ask about, beyond poverty, it looks like we've also allowed religious and tribal sentiment to really tear us apart. And it gets worse every day, especially from the younger generation, the people that are supposed to be the future of this country. You go around and every little conversation, it will have religious coloration, tribal coloration, political coloration. Should we be worried about this new development? It got really blown out of proportion during the election, especially the election of Lagos State into the governorship seat. Should we be worried about this new trend, Mr. Adeyemi?
I think any sensible Nigerian should be concerned about that. Not only be concerned about that, but how because of level of education and enlightenment and awareness of Nigeria, that we are talking of serious issue. I think a tribal religious correlation at least should not be brought into it at all, because we are talking of what's going to affect you and I. And even if some people if anybody had played such, I think, a game in the recent past or whatever, the question now is that I think a bag of rice that has gone to 60,000, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim, Tinubu is a Muslim. The Muslim buy rice at 30 cheaper price, or the Yorubas? I think they buying rice now at 30 or 18 or 15,000 naira now. Real point. So the point is that if anybody had played it, then we now begin to learn our lesson. That we are talking of social matters. We are talking of politics. We are talking of who can do. We are talking of, I think, giving a direction to the country, I think all those previous sentiments has no place unless we just want to continue to dip ourselves in a crisis that we ought not to go into in the first instance. And because Nigerians and many Nigerians are very religious, including myself, I can say that we say we have faith that as God tomorrow will be there. But now I think it's also the reason for people to be realistic. The faith will not work for you when you deliberately dip your hand, I think, into hot water, right? And they say you see a burning charcoal, and say you have faith, and then you dip your hand into it without thinking that the thing will burn you, right? We are doing that. I think Nigerians are doing that largely, but by and large, the issue of social engineering, the issue of politics, I think Nigerians should be more pragmatic. Must be critical, must be realistic. I think in taking decisions, even in analyzing issues. I'm not talking about the politics is over, right? Whoever you got to that office, he must be well criticized. He must be well pointed. The real facts on ground must get to his table, and there's no other way that can be done than when citizens know their rights
and they speak
and every opportunity they have, they paint the picture, they allow him to see. Tinubu has not had the voice of generator since he became the president. Even in his house in Bodilo, where they put the generator to the place is too far to know whether the light is off or not, right? And they know the kind of environment. I think they have this system that to switch on to from a public power supply to generator. You won't know anything before the thing drops. It picks, the generator picks up, and generator, I think in Nassau Rock and knew when Bats and whatever did the IPP there, right? So if somebody is in an environment that you've not seen the past, you've not seen a blackout for months,
and he doesn't need to buy petrol at expensive price,
and nobody's asking to sign any amount for buy petrol or buy diesel. You know what I'm saying? So for him to get those things on his mind every day, it's possible. We are all human. If things are working well for you now, certainly some of these complaints you may not think about it. Doesn't get to you because you're not experiencing it. And that's why Nigerians must be continually, at every opportunity, speak the truth to power. Let him know that things are not working well, that Nigerians are suffering.
Well, the president have essays and SSAs and aids, loads of them.
Those ones will not tell the truth.
Hello, good evening. Okay, try and call us back. That should be the last caller for the day. Hello, good evening. Hello. Good to have you join. It's a bit noisy where you are. I would appreciate if you can change your location. Hello, good evening. Okay, Pastor Ambus, we have just 1 minute for this conversation.
It is well, you. To start with, I was a chairman of a CDA. And because I stood on the truth, they conspired against me. You see, what Muyiwa is not saying is not really true that Nigerians are docile. I think the problem is that some Nigerians have been defaulted to suffering. They have been defaulted to religionism. They have been defaulted to tribalism. They have been defaulted to self-interest. So it's not as if Nigeria, I was the chairman of CD, they removed me because they said I was not cooperating. They wanted me to dance to their tune. So these are the problems that we have in Nigeria today. And as I'm talking to you now, the interest that Muyiwa is talking about, that some people, they are feeding fat. Is it not better for Mr. President to spread that something so that Nigerians can be okay? You see, the problem we have majorly in this country is that we don't care if so far the person that we love is there and is enjoying, we can suffer. Nigeria is blessed with enough resources, whether the academical, whether physical, whether natural resources, we have them. But the problem is the attitude of our people. If you rise up now, somebody will call now and counter you
Pastor
and insult you. You know how many times?
We'll continue this conversation tomorrow. Well, it's been a very engaging conversation. Thank you very much, Mr. Muyiwa Adeyemi, the Chief Political Editor of Guardian newspaper, for joining me on the show today. I really appreciate it, and we don't take this for granted. I'm sorry I can't pick calls again. We need to go tomorrow by 4 o'clock. It's open mic Friday. We'll come here and then we'll go over everything we've done. We'll also open the conversation on the office of the citizen. So it is you doing the talking tomorrow. I'm just going to be coordinating. Stay out of trouble. By 5:30, the full bulletin will come through, and by 6 o'clock, we'll be back for Sport Cruise live on Milan 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. My name is Opeyemi Akinyode. Stay out of trouble and have a very good evening.